Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Premier Cup Go Battle League practice battles. So, with no return date on the horizon for Go Battle League, all we can really do is practice. And honestly, I'm pretty in love with the whole format and meta of the Premier Cup, and when Go Battle League comes back, my opinion on that might completely change, but hopefully when Go Battle League does come back, we will get a taste of Premier Cup and be able to do some battles. So I have some practice battles here for you guys. Like I mentioned in a previous video, I have about 20 different Pokemon that I have at my disposal to use in the Premier Cup. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm just going to do 5 battles with a friend where I go through as many of those Pokemon as possible. So I put together a bunch of somewhat random 3s. I tried to think it through and make sure they weren't obviously weak to anything, but you know, when you're just battling for fun, you'll make some mistakes along the way. Either way though, I'm excited to share these battles. I'm excited to share some specific Pokemon that I think might have some play that people don't really expect. So let's jump into them and see what we got going on here. Alright, getting into this first battle, I decided to put together a team that consisted of the hardcore meta. This team of 3 was Togekiss, Dragonite, and then Metagross in the back. And we get what looks like a pretty positive lead with Togekiss on Tyranitar, because Togekiss is a fairy type dealing charm damage, which is super effective against Tyranitar's dark typing, but his Tyranitar is running Smackdown, so he's dealing super effective rock damage because of the fact that my Togekiss is also flying. So this matchup actually plays out a lot closer than I was expecting at first. I thought I won lead cleanly. He throws a crunch here, and I'm alive with 1 HP, which allowed me to get to my Ancient Power. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to get to the Ancient Power there. It was pretty crazy, so I'm going to go for it. If he shields, then I'm going to go down. He decides not to shield, so I end up winning lead with 1 HP. I honestly didn't even think my Togekiss was going to survive that crunch when it came through. And now whatever he comes in is going to get a tiny bit of an energy advantage on me, and then I'm gonna at least have switch advantage, so I can bring in Dragonite here, which would be the main counter for Swampert. Definitely don't want to bring in Metagross. One of Metagross's hardest counters in this Premier Cup meta is going to be something like Swampert or Excadrill or Rhyperior, those ground types. Possibly a Charizard. I have a Charizard that I've been using. My friend here uses it, I think, a couple times in these matches. And Charizard, unfortunately, just maxes out so low. So it's pretty glassy like it is in other leagues, but it does deal really solid damage and counters Metagross well. You just gotta be careful when a Metagross is running Psychic, because that's still gonna hurt a bit. Either way, I'm going for a Dragon Claw here. This gets the shield, which is nice, but well, not but anything. I'm at a shield advantage. He swaps, he brings in his Charizard here, and now I have a bit of an issue. My Metagross is essentially weak to both of them, but luckily my Dragonite can deal solid damage to both Charizard and Swampert. So essentially the rest of this match is going to rely on Dragonite dealing a majority of the damage, and you can see just there how much a Dragon Claw does from a Dragonite to a Charizard because of how glassy it is. Dragon Claw is not exactly the strongest move, and now he's going for his own Dragon Claw. I have shield advantage, so I don't mind shielding that. Now we're even in shields, but I'm also at another Dragon Claw, but I decide I want to farm down. I didn't think he was going to be able to get to another charge move just because of how much damage I'd done to him so quickly. So Swampert comes back in, and I'm feeling pretty good about this match, and this is why the meta is the meta. He had 2 Metagross counters in the back, and Dragonite is just going to be so overpowered when it's not running into an Ice type or a Charmer that it was able to handle essentially both of them without really any issue. So now he's going to go for another Hydro Cannon here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I decided to shield it because my Dragonite has energy, and I'm going to be able to get to at least 1 more Dragon Claw, which will grab his last shield. Oh no, I've already got his last shield, so this will take out the Swampert. So I didn't even need to use the Metagross in this match because Dragonite was able to take care of literally 2/3 of his team. So if that doesn't give you a taste of what the meta is going to look like for Premier Cup, I don't know what else will. But either way, I had that Metagross in the back for any safety reasons in case I ran into something that would have countered the Dragonite. So now that I got the hard meta line out of the way, I decided I wanted to change it up, obviously, try a little bit of spice. I put together Electivire, Snorlax, and Garchomp, and honestly, I like Electivire. I don't know if it's just because these are practice matches, and it does kind of have some positive matchups in the meta. I have to run the simulations to get a confirmation, but with something like Ice Punch and Wild Charge, it can deal super effective damage to Togekiss, it can deal super effective damage to Dragonite, and then Wild Charges add up against Metagross, and as much as it's going to nerf the or debuff Electivire's defense by 2 stages each time you throw a Wild Charge, you could always run away and clear the debuff. So in this next match though, I end up with an Electivire on a Tyranitar lead, and for whatever reason in my mind, I was like, Ice is super effective against Rock, so I'm going to go for Ice Punches here against Tyranitar, when really, after I built up those 2 Wild Charges, I should have just thrown them back to back. I had my typing mixed up. Rock deals super effective damage to Ice, so that kind of messed me up a little bit in the beginning of this match. I am curious though to see how much 1 Wild Charge would have done to Tyranitar, because it should have been neutral damage, I'm pretty sure. Either way, I do land both of those Ice Punches, so if one of those was a Wild Charge, I'm pretty confident that Tyranitar would have got taken out. Tyranitar is an interesting Pokemon for Premier Cup. Don't know how much play it's really going to have, just because the main meta of Togekiss and Metagross can deal super effective damage to it, and I guess with Smackdown it can hurt Togekiss and Dragonite because of their flying typings, so maybe it might have a slight niche, but it's not exactly the tankiest either. But he throws a Crunch there, Garchomp can tank it, does about a third of my health, he goes for another Crunch, so now I have to shield this one, just because I want to overfarm. These Mud Shots I'm going to deal are going to do super effective damage, and then I can get to a Sand Tomb and then maybe have a Sand Tomb ready for whatever his next Pokemon is. So I overcharge a bit, actually a little bit too much. I think it's this match where I overcharge too much. But I go for the Sand Tomb. This would take out the remaining health of his Tyranitar, or he'll grab the shield if he thinks he can get to a charge move. It does take out Tyranitar. Okay, never mind. I didn't overfarm too much in this match. It was a different match. But now he comes and counters me super hard with a Mamoswine. So Mamoswine being an Ice and Ground typing, and Garchomp being a Dragon and Ground typing, that Ice damage is going to deal double super effective to my Garchomp, so I had to get out of there. Honestly, I shouldn't have thrown the Sand Tomb because I should have known he was going to swap out based on my swap, and I just essentially wasted the energy because Sand Tomb didn't hurt the Mamoswine there, and the debuff's going to get cleared once the Mamoswine gets out of the matchup. But either way, he matches my Snorlax with the Charizard, and again, you'll see how much that Body Slam just did to the Charizard. It kind of just goes back to stressing my point about how glassy it is. So, as much as Charizard is probably one of the top Metagross counters, against the rest of the meta, it's going to struggle because of where it maxes out CP-wise. Mega Evolutions are coming, so maybe that'll give Mega Charizard some play in Master League. It most likely will. Probably Master League and Premier Cup. I definitely think I'll give it play in Premier. Either way, I throw another Body Slam. He has to shield, and I am at a shield disadvantage, but even if he throws a Blast Burn here, Snorlax can tank it, and I'm pretty confident I can commit to a Lick Down at this point, just because of how glassy Charizard is and how tanky Snorlax is. So I'm committing, I go for the Lick Down, I have a Body Slam ready to throw at his Mamoswine. Mamoswine's also a super glassy Pokemon, so my opponent here, my friend here, came in with a team of 3 that was really pretty glassy compared to my team, whereas Electivire is glassy, Garchomp's really not, it's a bit glassy. Snorlax is definitely not glassy. So either way, I swap out, I go for my Garchomp Sand Tomb here, and I think this was a little bit of a broken bug on Pokemon Go. See how I got like 2 extra Mud Shots in there before he started throwing Mamoswine? Before he started throwing Powder Snows, it didn't really look like lag. I think it was one of those little glitches in the game where when a charge move ends, one person in the battles able to get an extra quick move, and I somehow got in 2 because Mud Shot's quick, and that's honestly what I think ended up winning me that match, because then I got to the Sand Tomb and took out his Mamoswine. So, getting into match number 3, talking about trying out some spice options. I have one that I haven't really heard people talking about too much, which is Empoleon. Now, bear with me on this one. This team of 3 I put together here had Empoleon lead with Metagross and Swampert in the back. It's like a double water strategy, you know me and my obsession with double mud, so I gotta have a little water somewhere. But Empoleon has some pretty good matchups against the meta. Its Steel typing allows it to resist Togekiss's Charms. Its Steel typing also allows it to resist all of Metagross's moves unless it's running Earthquake, which would deal neutral damage. And then again, its Steel typing allows it to resist Dragonite's Dragon Breath damage. Now, it also has a similar issue to like Charizard, where max is out below 3,000 CP, but that Steel typing gives it a better play because Steel resists so many other types in the meta. So it doesn't take heavy damage from a lot of things. Like, I'm going to let this charge move go through, ends up being a Meteor Mash, and look at how little damage that Meteor Mash did to the Empoleon. So my friend here decides to swap, brings in a Dragonite, and honestly I consider keeping it in, but I'm like, you know what, Hydro Cannon is still going to be resisted, and it takes a while to get to the Flash Cannon, so Dragonite, out of the 3 main meta options, would probably be Empoleon's toughest competition, because it would just get out-bulked essentially, because they're both going to be resisting each other's moves. But I do think Empoleon's going to have solid play in Premier Cup, and if nobody else shows it, I might try my best to. Try my best. Those keywords. I can't make any promises when it comes to Go Battle League battles. Either way, I swapped in Metagross to try and counter this Dragonite because Swampert wasn't going to counter it. Same issue with Empoleon where the water damage is going to be resisted. And notice my Metagross is best buddied. I got it to best buddy literally. When did I record this? I recorded this yesterday, literally on Community Day. Speaking of which, I hope everybody's Community Days went well for Beedrill. I hope you guys got all your shinies. I hope you got your hundos. I hope you got your PvP hundos. Luckily, I was able to get a PvP hundo of Beedrill. I got like 42 shinies. I got a regular hundo of Beedrill, and I got a shiny 98. Oh my god, it was so close to get my first shundo. But I had a really great Community Day, and I hope you guys did too, because obviously it already passed. I can't say do. And I hope you guys did too, just because, you know, Beedrill, Mega Evolutions, I mentioned it a little bit before. I know a lot of other content creators have been on top of the topic, so I didn't want to talk about too much because their knowledge and the math that they've been doing behind the scenes definitely outweighs my knowledge on the topic at the moment, but I'm excited for Mega Evolutions, and Mega Beedrill will definitely be a force to be reckoned with. So that's always a great sign. My opponent here decides to swap his Metagross in after he had a Gardevoir, which again, Gardevoir I think is more of like a budget type of Togekiss. Not that it's really cheaper than Togekiss, but I think Togekiss just outbulks it. Gardevoir might deal more damage, but the issue is with Charm, you're not really getting to your charge moves. So I don't know how much play Gardevoir is necessarily going to have. Maybe a Shadow Gardevoir, because everybody's obsessed with their shadows. If you have a Shadow Hundo Gardevoir, or 98 or even 96, props to you. I would love to see it. And, you know, when Go Battle League gets back, might want to do a little shoutcast on it. Either way, though, regular Gardevoir just not attack heavy enough and still pretty glassy in Master League. I get off another Hydro Cannon there, and I take out the Gardevoir, and I have won these first 3 matches. Sorry, bud. Getting into match number 4. I'm trying out more spice, a little more Community Day spice since we're on that topic. I go with my shiny 93 maxed out Alakazam. Yeah, I know 93 is not exactly optimal IVs for Master League, but I really want to make this thing work. But Alakazam is just so glassy, and giving a counter was nice and all, but it takes a little bit to get the Fire Punch, it takes a little bit to get the Shadow Ball. You see how much that one Hydro Cannon did? That's a spice option that I don't think is going to work out really ever in any league. I know Zionic did a video like months ago when the Community Day happened, or a month ago, whenever it happened, and he literally showcased Alakazam in each league, and I don't think he had much success with it, and I'm kind of on that same page as him. I really want to make it work because I invested in it, not for Premier Cup. It was a shiny 93, just like that shiny 98 Weedle I mentioned. I'm going to max that out too once I get the chance, because I just love maxing out like high IV shinies and try to make them work, but unfortunately Alakazam doesn't seem like it's going to be one I'm going to be able to make work. Either way, my Alakazam goes down. I am at a shield advantage, which is kind of positive, but I don't have switch advantage. His Swampert's still getting off another Hydro Cannon here, and it's got a ton of health, so it should be able to get to another one, but he decides to swap, which was a bit of a mistake on his part, just because as much as Togekiss is farming, doing charm damage, I'm really not farming up much energy, and like, what am I farming up to? An Ancient Power or a Flamethrower? You still have a shield. I wouldn't have been too worried about it, but either way, he decides to swap. I bring in my Rhyperior. The Bullet Punches are dealing super effective damage to my Rhyperior, but my Mud Slaps are definitely hurting also. So this shield advantage that I have, I'm just going to completely rely on it to try and farm down this Metagross. I get it super low. I didn't think I was going to get out of this with only using 1 shield, so I'm fine with it. I use a 2nd shield here, and by the time it's completely farmed down, I will have 2 Surfs ready for whatever Pokemon he decides to bring in. I'm worried his Swampert has energy on it, so I don't even really wait to throw my energy. I mean, we're stuck here because he has to make a decision, but once a Pokemon's coming in, I'm immediately tapping on the Surf. Luckily it is Swampert, and luckily he doesn't have any energy. I don't know who wins that CMP tie. King, you seem to always know those. You wanna hit me up in the comments, let me know? No, I'll do my research, I'm sorry. King is so good, honestly, like knowing that, I wish, I don't even know my typings, I wish I knew which Pokemon was gonna win a CMP tie. I gotta work on that, absolutely. Definitely an important skill to have when you're dealing with these kinds of matchups and you want to know if you can overfarm more or not. Either way, his last Pokemon's a Mamoswine, and this is GG for me. I think I just barely fell short of that Ancient Power, but Ancient Power got nerfed so hard that I wasn't going to take out the Mamoswine. He gets the Avalanche off, takes me out, and I'm hoping, I'm like, you know, if I can get to a Surf here, I can take him out, and I fall 1 Mud Slap short, and he's going to get this Avalanche off, and he's going to win this match. Mamoswine came in clutch. I had 2 Pokemon that were weak to it, but Mamoswine on the back, especially if you can give it a shield, I think will have a lot of play in Premier Cup just because of how spammy it can be. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really enjoying doing these practice battles. I come back for this 5th match with a little bit more of that Electivire spice. I've fallen in love with that Pokemon, and Empoleon for Premier Cup. Now, again, it's a small sample size, so take whatever information you can, but don't take this as if I'm saying those Pokemon are definitely going to work when Go Battle League comes back. But boy, do I miss Go Battle League, and I will be trying them out. I will be trying them out, so we'll have a clearer idea, obviously, when Go Battle League hopefully comes back. It's been over a week now. But I'm enjoying practice, so let's keep on focusing on this. Either way, because of the fact that Electivire is so glassy, I had to make sure I followed it up with something super bulky, like Snorlax, to absorb some hits, because Electivire is going to need my shields. And then I have Charizard in the back, which again I said is glassy, so that's why I put Snorlax, because it's like the bulkiest of the bulk when it comes to bulky Pokemon. So Charizard's kind of in the back, hoping that it can land a Blast Burn somewhere and maybe can tank at least 1 hit. I don't really expect Charizard to be able to tank too many hits, but that was the logic behind this team of 3. It's pretty weak though, obviously, for the glassy reasons I already mentioned. But my opponent loses lead because he brings in his own Charizard, and then follows it up with a Gyarados, and because I Wild Charge, I had to get out of there. The waterfalls are chunking away at my Electivire, so as much as I'm double super effective against it, between the waterfalls and the fire spins that his Charizard were doing beforehand, Electivire was getting pretty low. It can only handle so much, even though those were both pretty positive matchups for it. So I follow up my Electivire lead with the Snorlax save swap to match his Gyarados. I'm going to get to this Body Slam. Either I'm going to get his last shields, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, last shields. Or I'm going to get it in like the red and I can lick it down. So it goes unshielded, I get him in the red, and I'm able to lick it down because Waterfall, just like Dragon Breath, hold up, they're not just like each other, but they both suck at charging energy, so I felt pretty comfortable there just being able to lick down. And now he decides to bring in Dragonite, which I'm totally fine with because my Charizard in the back is not exactly going to have a good time with the Dragonite. I was hoping his last Pokemon would be like maybe Mamoswine or Metagross, so I'm hoping to get off as many Body Slams as possible. He decides to swap, so I guess he wanted his Dragonite to kind of eat that Body Slam, but I'm fine with that too because I'm getting off another Body Slam here. He's going to have to throw a Dragon Claw to take out Snorlax because the licks are just going to do too much damage, and honestly I'd probably be able to lick him down before he can fire spin me down, and I think he's going to realize that soon. Excuse me, he is going to realize that soon. He's throwing the Dragon Claw. I'm fine with this though because of the fact that Electivire can come in, Thunder Shock the Charizard down, and essentially throw some damage at his Dragonite. So I have energy farmed up. I'm going to go for the Ice Punch. It's double super effective. That's why that's also another reason why I like Electivire, just because of the fact that it has something for dragons, because of its electric typing. All its electric moves would be resisted by other dragons. Technically they'd be neutral to Dragonite because it's also flying. But either way, I was able to get that shield. We get a little lag, which kind of ruins this match, and I'm still able to get to a Dragon Claw. His charge move wasn't really going to take me out unless he was going to get to his biggest charge move, which would have definitely taken out my Charizard. So I don't know if maybe that's what ended up happening there. That lag might have cost him a couple Dragon Breaths. And then we CMP tie. But I do have a shield. Oh, yeah, so even if he went for his biggest charge move, I was still going to be able to shield it, so he would have had to bait me and then get to his biggest charge move, or get to 2 Dragon Claws. So maybe the lag stopped him from getting enough energy to get to maybe a second Dragon Claw, but other than that, it was still a fairly close match. If he got to that Dragon Claw, though, he would have beaten me, and my Charizard's able to finish off the match. And that was an alright representation of Charizard. I mean, I used it once, and it kind of just did the job I needed to do, but Charizard doesn't have a positive matchup against Dragonite. Overall, let me know what you thought about the Pokemon I tried out in these matches, and also let me know about potential Spice Pokemon you'd want to see from me in Premier Cup battles. As much as I still think the meta is going to be really small, like really condensed, I'm going to try my best to give you useful content that involves Spice Pokemon. So let me know. I'll check if I have a 96, a 98, or a hundo of it, and I will max it out, and I'll try to have it ready for when Go Battle League hopefully comes back. Other than that, let me know what you thought of the Pokemon I did use, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.